Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Happening Multicultural Community Activations. My name is Paola Gomez, and I am Muse Arts Program Director. I am thrilled to be here on this sunny Friday evening to engage in conversations with artists about their work, their life, and their experience, both here in Canada and the wealth of experience that they bring from other places around the world. Before we start, and we welcome my dear friend Claudia Arana, an independent curator and an artist, and our wonderful guests for this evening, I would like to invite you to recognize the land where we stand, where we work, where we live, a land that we have settled. In my case, I am in the indigenous traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit. This land has been the home of many indigenous nations and continues to be the land of indigenous communities that have taken care of land and water since time immemorial. I would like to honor all the First Nations, the Métis, and the Inuit people that have taken care of this land for us to be able to live safe here. I would also like to honor Mother Earth for all the resources that we use. And while we are all going through this global health crisis, I invite us to take care of each other, to create a space for connections and conversations, making sure that we are all safe and following proper guidelines. These spaces, the spaces that we have created through Happening Multicultural Community Activations, are possible thank you to the support of organizations such as Canada Council for the Arts and organizations such as Factor Canada. Of course, there is an immense amount of people that are involved in these projects, and there are so many community partners involved in these activations as well. But this wouldn't be possible without the talent, the skill, the love, and the support of the many artists with experience of migration or artists that have come to Canada as refugees. Today is for me an honor to welcome Claudia Arana. Claudia is an independent curator, as I mentioned before. She's a visual artist, a cultural connector. Claudia has been in Canada for just only a few years, and in the years that she has been here, she has created such a great impact, not only for her brilliance, but also for her ability to do her artistic work and to connect communities in very positive ways. Claudia, thank you very much for curating this space and for hosting this space so our communities have the opportunity to meet wonderful artists such as the guest speaker that we have for this evening. Thank you very much, and the space is all yours.
Okay, well, thank you, Paula, again for that warm introduction. I'm thrilled again to be here on a Friday, as you mentioned, very sunny, beautiful weather. And I think that with everything that's going on, we do need a little bit of that shine and extra vitamin D. So I'm very grateful that we have the weather that we have today. And of course, I want to thank everyone that is tuning in. As Paula mentioned before, I'm an independent curator. I'm currently the curator at the ArtworxTO, a West End Cultural Hub. And it is my pleasure to introduce you today to Shabnam Afrand. So Shabnam, you want to turn on your camera? Hey.
Claudia.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Shabnam, for being here. I'm very excited to be able to chat with you once again. And before we continue, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit more about Shabnam. So Shabnam is a multi-disciplinary visual artist, born and educated in Tehran, Iran, and she moves to Canada in 2013. She obtained her Master of Fine Arts from the Azad University in 2001, with a thesis that examined the interpretation of women in the art history. She taught at the Faculty of Fine Arts in Azad, the university, from 2003 till 2010. And she has been a member of the Iranian Painter Society since 2003. So her practice consists of paintings, performance, sculpture, and metal smithing. Throughout this range of media, she explores the themes of life, death, and identity, creating an ambience of longing in her works. As an immigrant woman, she uses memorial objects to integrate memories and warm nostalgia into their own self. So, Shabnam, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Claudia, for having me, and special thanks to Happening Multicultural Festival. It's my second time I have a chance to participate in Muse Art, and special thanks to the Claudia and all of her effort to introduce the immigrant and refugee artists. And it's my pleasure and honor because I know you as an independent curator, and I just have a chance to participate in some of the project with you in past 3 or 4 years, I believe. And it's my pleasure and honor, and thank you for having me today.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah, as you mentioned, we met like a couple of years back, and we have had the opportunity to collaborate in many different projects and exhibitions.
Yeah.
And I'm a truly fan of Shabnam's work, and
Thank you.
you will know shortly why once we start our presentation. So I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, I might need some help from IT. Can you please? Okay, done. Awesome, thank you. We have great support here. Okay, so yeah, like I think that it's been quite a journey for both of us to be able to meet and to work together. And I have seen you, of course, expand your work in Canada. But I would like to first start the conversation with you telling us a little bit about how you started your artistic practice and a little bit of the early beginnings, maybe when you were back in Iran, when you were studying. Like, what were the concepts, ideas, or elements that were important for you and that kind of make you realize, yeah, I want to be an artist. Like, this is what I really want to do.
If I just want to start, everything I believe it goes back to childhood, and childhood memory have a very influential maybe affection in our life. And uh, as a as all the child that have the talents with the art and they are just doing some pieces as a craft, and after that they are starting to just doing some painting. My parents realized I have some talents in arts, and uh, I started when I was 14. I just started to go to the class, and they just find a good teacher for me. And I had a chance to work with Mr. Faramarzi, and it's my pleasure and honor to just go back to this kind of memory because it's a kind of just reviewing all these memories. And my academic starting, the background just go back to that period of time. And when I just started, I was 12, 13, and 14, and I started to do some drawing. And in that period of time, I just fascinated working with pencils and color pencils. And after that, I started to do some a little bit watercolor. And because in high school I was in the science, and it was some entrance for going to the university, and I just did that exam, and I accepted for arts. But first of all, as all the parents, they are just a little bit worried about the future of the child in the arts scene. They were a little bit, they didn't have very sure about this decision, and it was a little bit hard, and especially because I don't have any family in art, and I'm coming from the another background in my family background. And because of that, it was a little bit challenging for me, first of all, to just take to this part and passing this part. But after that, when I just went to the school and I started my university, I just started in the Azad University, and I had a chance to work with a very, very great professor. And here again, I have to just appreciate all of my and acknowledge all of my teachers and instructors that I had in during my bachelor's, and after that my master's. From the first or maybe second year, I realized I really love to work with space. And my pieces and my art pieces, it was big and abstract as my vision. I have a very abstract vision, and I'm thinking abstract as well too. And because of that, I just fascinated with some of the spiritual maybe movement as well too. After when I just started this kind of area as well, and at the same time. With my painting, I always had a chance to work with another mediums. And I choose this picture because it was the project that I just started with some of the, put some of the painting and installation pieces just get together. And always I had fascinated with the meaning of the place and atmosphere, and just finding territories and some of these kind of things. And it is one of the picture, one of my best friend, Marjan, and just took this picture, and it's kind of beautiful memories on back side of these picture, and we just worked together, and it was beautiful, beautiful times. And yeah, this is my first picture that I just started. And after that, these project, it just went through to my thesis. This is my thesis. And in my thesis, I just, as usual, I love to sit in space and finding the territory for myself. I'm fascinated about some meaning about the life and the place that we are coming to this world, and after that when we involving with some beautiful things in the nature, and in all of our life we are in a cycle and we are just passing these kind of cycle. And this project, it was exactly about the cycle and about the lost and about a place and all of these kind of meaning. It was on backside of my mind.
Yeah.
And especially the red, you can see in a lot of my pieces I'm using red because I believe it's the first color that infants, just the child, can see in the maybe second or third week of the birth. They can just start to look and see and just understand this. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
color of the life, and it's a color of the blood, and it's color of the birth. And I just, as a usual, I just put a place and I just sit on top of that. And it was my day of my graduation. And my thesis, my BA thesis, BFA thesis, it was about the experimental movements in new art. I just work with some of the movements. It was just on that period of time, I just fascinated with them. Something like a body art performance and land art. And I just choose some of these kind of movements and I just started to research in these kind of areas. And I had a chance to work with a great instructor as well too. And they guide me to have
Yeah.
find a solution to have some of these kind of journey that I just interested. And that's it.
That's great, Shabnam. Thank you for sharing like all of that. Like when you see the pictures, you immediately feel like a very strong connection of what was happening that time. And it's very interesting to see that from an early, from the early beginnings, you were interested in what you just mentioned about finding your own territory, and that's something like very powerful. It's very powerful for any human being, but it's also very powerful for women in the art history, right? To find our place and to re-envision our place in art history. And I think that most of your work has drawn into like those ideas and those concepts like in the foreground. That's something that you could definitely feel. And I love that we have these images to kind of illustrate and kind of feel the vibe that you were in back then. It is great. It is amazing. And I don't know if there's like something in particular that you remember when you were in school that really kind of, I don't know, change a lot of your perspectives. I mean, you have mentioned, of course, that instructors for you were very meaningful. But I don't know if there's something, for example, with this picture that you want to tell us about. Those. I think that most artists they have different moments in which their perception or the way that they see their own practice and see things really kind of shifts or shapes in a way. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about this image in relation to that.
You know, Claudia, because I graduated 20 years ago, and on that time, it wasn't open space for these kind of works in my country. And because of that, especially in the school, it was a little bit challenging for me. And because uh, it was some rejection from some of my instructor, and some of them, they told me it's a kind of mess and it's not going to be have a good feeling. And I just remember that day because I just went at 4 o'clock in the morning into that space, and it is underground. It was a room, and I just covered all the walls with the paper, and I just had a permission from the office administration for the lighting, because I just take everything lighting on the back, and it was very challenging because it was full installation. I just did all the room installed, and it was a kind of it's a papier mache mixing with the painting and the light and so many things. But first of all, I really love to just back to some of my teachers that I had, Mr. Severi, and he just was guide me to a very, very special moment, and I had a chance to work with him because on that period of time he just came back from the San Francisco, and he just graduated from over there and Germany as well too, and he was very knowledgeable about these kind of theory, because I just very fascinated with some of the new theory and the new art movement and some of these kind of things. And at the same time, as I mentioned, it was very challenging because I had a lot of problem for installation piece and installing the piece. And at the same time, I had some problem with so many areas. But when I want to do something, I'm always find a way, and I'm just opening all the doors. And as you mentioned, because my thesis, it was about the women, and some of the women that they are just appeared in the Academy of the London, like a Mary Moser and Gentileschi, and some of these kind of women. But after that, unfortunately, in the art history, you don't have any name of these kind of women, and they are just disappeared. And I just fascinated with the work of some of the women artists like Judy Chicago and some of these kind of things. And all of my project, it was about the theory of the, I just work in some of the theory on Linda Nucklin theories about the feminism, and some of the women artists that they cannot see their name in the art history. And when you look on my work, again, you can see a kind of loom and uterus. And in all of my works, you can see these kind of movements. And when you are just going back, I just put some of my painting here because a lot of my friends, they don't know exactly how I can work and how can I switch. And I just put the last day of my studio works because I had a lot of works, big abstract expressionist work, and I'm really fascinated in abstract expressionist, and I work very big. And again, and I just put these kind of pieces here to mention. I always mm, be a kind of painter, but more installation artist. And
Yeah.
because of that, they know me more with my installations and with my maybe space works and some
Yeah.
other things. Yeah.
No, and I mean your artistic career, it's full of so many layers, and I love that we were able to know more about like your position in terms of, yeah, you know, the establishment. And when I mean the establishment is because of course art institutions as well, they have been they have suffered, of course, of many rigorous and rigid systemic structures that have affected like so many different at so many different levels our society. So of course in terms of uh, artists as women, and also in terms of moving easily between mediums and techniques, and confronting always yeah, like what it's considered to be art and what it isn't. So that's something that we definitely can see happening on our previous image right here, and it's great that you were able to share that with us, because I think that people are getting a lot of your personality and how, yeah, you are courageous and you have been always challenging and questioning the place that you're in. So that's wonderful.
I love challenge and I love question, but sometimes it's not good.
Well,
It's something problematically, it's something happened, and that's
it is problematic for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But I'm glad, and we are glad when artists actually take those risks and take those chances, because they are not easy. But those always kind of open the door for other discussions, and they allow us to evolve in terms of what are we are as a society, and how are we, uh, in a way, creating spaces for everything, for ourselves, for ideas of art, for the culture itself. So I think it's very healthy that we have those voices always up.
I believe so, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So of course, right now, what we're talking about, and we're getting there, is we're seeing a little bit of your background, right? Like your early beginnings. And now, of course, you can let us know a little bit more about your artist statement. So where you are right now as an artist, how you have evolved from those early ideas or conceptions. And yeah, as we all have already discussed, you have an enormous flexibility, and you have the skills to be able to move from different mediums, right? And explore projects from different perspectives. So it's great that you haven't fall into one category of, okay, I'm a painter, I'm a sculptor, I'm no, you are so many things. And it's so good that you don't need to, stick to one of it, to be able to develop your own identity as an artist. And it's always refreshing to see, okay, now let's check how Shabnam is evolving and what she's up to now. And you always surprise me, so that's amazing. So I don't know if you want to mention, and I can pass on
Yeah.
to these images are very, very strong. I do remember
Thank
them.
you.
So I don't know if you want to talk about them briefly in relation to your artist statement right now.
Yeah. When I just look back, because this work is exactly for 20 years ago, I'm still challenging with these kind of identical, political, geopolitical, and uh, social maybe discourses, and about decolonizing, and about the land, the borders, and what is the meaning of exactly the map and the word borders, and what is the maybe impact of the power maybe in these discourses. And this work, it's just exactly for 20 years ago. And again, it was a performance that I yeah, it was a kind of things. It's related again to the land, related to my identity. And the name of this work, it's I'm Alive. And this work, and after that, all of my works, when you are just going back and forth to these kind of concepts that I just still, I'm struggling with them, and I couldn't find my practice just isolated with these kind of meanings, and still I'm just working with these kind of meaning backside of the some of the happening inside of the society every day. And it's about all these wars and all these dead, and it's a kind of sometimes frustrating. And sometimes when you look on some of the social media every day, and when you look on these kind of happening all around you, you're just asking about yourself. when it's going to be finished and when we are going to just feel the unity and feeling connection. And yeah, this work, it was exactly about kind of death and life at the same time. And that hands, for me, it's the symbol of the life and peace. And inside of all these kind of affection and all these kind of wars and all these kind of bad happening after every war, after every destroying everything, just a transition going on, and some of the new mind and new generation just go back and just look on all of these kind of violence and some of these kind of things that just they stayed in collective memory, and these collective memory, it's not going to be disappeared because it's going to be stay inside of that soil. And I believe we are, and we are all connected, and this soil, it's not about the one place, and we have to understand exactly what's the meaning of this unity, and we have to find a way to connect. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
No, absolutely. And I remember very much this work because we included a couple of these images
exactly,
for
yes,
a newcomer exhibition at
exactly,
Tehran City Hall. But
exactly.
also, it's great that you were able to exhibit this at the MoCA
Yeah.
in Toronto as well.
The
So
second
it's
piece, it was in the
powerful.
mocha. Sorry, this one. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, it's this one. Oh, okay, okay.
it's the banquet piece. And it was exactly, I had a chance to participate in two exhibitions of the new art in Tehran. It was one of them in the Museum of the Modern Art in Tehran in 2002. And after that, it was another exhibition. And I just use a candy, sugar candy, and I made this sculpture with candy and sugar candy. And again, it goes back to some of the identical things that just related to some of the ceremony that we have in marriage, and we are putting these sugar candy inside of the place that we have some ceremony for the marriage. And I just did these kind of sculptures, and on the down part it was just I just made some sweets and biscuits and some of these kind of things, and it was interactive installation. And on that day, I just remember because it was inside of uh, the place that it was for some all the peoples, they just came here, and it was some people, they are just having some ready for just putting the tea and coffee and all of these kind of sweet and everything to the people. And maybe it was, I don't know how many people that day they just came. It was maybe 3,000 people. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, it was amazing.
That's
And that exhibition, it was the first exhibition in Tehran that they are just having the new art, started the new art movement inside of my country very. And I had a chance because I was very young on that period of time, and but it was my pleasure to have a chance to participate in this exhibition because it was a lot of great artists. They just participate in this exhibition, and a lot of just masters in some of the works. They just participate in this.
that's great. I love seeing like this kind of work, and it's very interesting to see how you're incorporating always like contemporary objects into traditional beliefs and costumes and behaviors. I think that that's a great way of creating that link of something that still remains as part of your culture or as part of your beliefs, but at the same time you are creating or coming from a different approach to
Yes.
create like different viewpoints about that situation. So I think it's wonderful that we are able to see these images and to put in context like all of that. It's wonderful. So these are fairly new even to me. I don't recall this work, and that's why I'm always surprised by Shabnam, because she always has something that keeps surprising me. So I don't know if you want to let us know about this, which looks so it's fantastic, so intriguing.
Thank you. Yeah, Claudia, because I just mentioned I love challenge, and it was amazing because I just went to one class to learning to, it was a cooking class for, and after that, I started to make some biscuits inside of the oven of my mother. And I just remember exactly that day because I just made all of these biscuits inside of the oven of, and my mother, oh my gosh, she always support me in a lot of areas. But again, yeah, this exhibition I exactly remember because exactly I just work with again smell of the coffee, eating something, and it the name of the piece it's this is art, and you can eat this piece. And yeah, again, I just made these pieces with the flour and sugar and exactly the biscuits, and you can just eat it. And because it was again, it was the new art exhibition, and it was some of the 2 or 3 exhibitions just we had on that period of time, because the Museum of the Modern Art just changed the view and the vision about maybe institutional things inside of the art scene in Tehran on that period of time. But after that, we have 5 years because the that person that he was just using these kind of institutional things inside of the museum, he just gone. And because of that, we have 5 years nothing. And after that, again, they started. And nowadays, we have a lot of contemporary gallery. They are just providing the opportunity for younger generation artists to doing some of these kind of experimental works. But I really fascinated about these kind of experimental works because in these kind of works, when the audience just came and just interact with the piece, first of all, the beauty of that, I just saw exactly on the opening, so many people, they're just using these biscuits and they eat it, and it was very fascinating for me. And again, the smell of the coffee all around, and it was some light involved, and it was some music involved. And yeah, I really fascinated with these kind of works. And it's a kind of, again, I use that we have in Esfahan, it's a kind of cookie. The name of this cookie is pulaki. This is a kind of candy. It's a very traditional candy. And in Esfahan, they're using always, they have it, and they are just using this candy with the tea, and it's very tasty. But I just imitate this pulaki, and I just made it again with the sugar. And yeah, and I just put these pulaki, the big pulaki, in on top of floor. And again, it was some challenge, and after that it was some critic. One of my dear friends, Behrang, he just wrote a critic about this work, and it was about, he just named me as a chef, and he was about the famous chef just installed the biscuits inside of the gallery, and it was nice.
Very interesting.
It was, yeah.
I love that you are, yeah, how you are inviting people people to be part of the work, and getting people to, move outside their comfort zones. And like, you have biscuits in the floor, and you have the smell of the coffee, and you are kind of, revisiting your own culture and your own beliefs in a different way, which I find very exciting. And I'm so glad that people were open to it. And I think that's one of the great things about creating this type of installations that you do, that it's always unexpected to know how the audience is going to behave or interact. But it's great that you are taking like those chances, right, to be able to explore, okay, like different behaviors and different experiences for the audience, as they are in a way reimagining their own beliefs and their own culture. So that's wonderful. You also shared this image, and I am very aware of your painting and your skills. But you want us to, just let us know a little bit more about this work, as I think that it's also, I find that when you do your painting, it becomes also like a transition in time for you.
Yes.
So you create these installations, then you go back to painting, then you go again to installations, and then, so painting is always something that I see from you as a transition, a moment in which you think about, very introspective, you think about a lot of things. So yeah, I don't know if you want to share a little bit more of that with us.
You know what, Claudia? Because on that kind of work, uh, I'm just looking for more asking some question that I'm just have inside of mine, and it's a kind of shock, exactly that you mentioned, because a lot of audience, they just shock why she's putting the cookies maybe on the floor. But this kind of work, it's more personal for me, and exactly the painting always it was in part of the personal. And when you are just looking back to my maybe resume, always painting for me, it wasn't, I didn't display my painting in solo, and always because it was very personal. And always I just do some paintings, and I have a lot of paintings, and I didn't display them. And as usual, I'm abstract, and I just, on that period of time, especially, I just work with big pieces. And I was fascinated again about the meaning of the void and eternity, and again, these kind of things. And yeah, these, I think it's just about the Eternity series. It just did, I think,
Yeah,
in 2003, I think, or maybe four. I'm not exactly. Yeah. And
they're
yeah, these kind
wonderful.
of things. Yeah.
And then we see again part of your installation and also performance pieces. So that's why I always find that your painting is like very refreshing, and I don't know if it becomes like it's something important for you as part of your creative process. And then, you kind of go back and say, okay, I need to interact with people, I need to create installations, and I need to create this type of work back again. And I'm gonna share like the all these images, and I really really want you to let us know more about this works, because they are absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Exactly, just you mentioned exactly my character, because I am exactly like that. Some part in some of my years, I just went to my solitude, and sometimes 2 or 3 years I was in my solitude. And because I'm yoga instructor, and I just went to the India for stay over there passing some courses again, I just went back, and all of these kind of works for me have some story behind them. All of them, it's kind of my life experience on backside of that. This work, it's just coming from in 2010. It was exhibition entitled Of the Hinterland. It was the Austrian artist. They just came to the Iran and just she curated a show, and I had a chance to participate in this exhibition. And this piece, it's a kind of connection between, again, the land and the further up, maybe the whole energy and cosmos and some of these kind of things. Because especially on from 2005, because I just focus more on some of the meanings. It was very, very important for me, some of the philosophy and some of the movements, spiritual things. And because the head, it's the center of the knowledge. And when I just put these, I just made this hat and I just put it on top of my head and I cover in the opening, my head, it was under this piece and no one can see my head. It is just this picture. One of my friends, when I just put my head out, they just capture it. But inside of the installation, in all of the 5 hours of the installation on the opening day, my head, it was under and it wasn't appear. And because in the Eastern opinion and philosophy and some of these kind of things, they believe in some of the areas like that. And I use, again, it was a kind of mirror effect, but it is a paper. I'm always have the mirror inside of my work. I had another 2 or 3 installations just I worked with a mirror in maybe 20 years ago. And because this reflection, it takes light inside of my work. And the blue, it's a color that we have in our architecture. And we are using this exactly, there's turquoise color blue, and especially the gold, again, it's a kind of magnificence and a kind of have feelings of the belonging with our culture. And I just inspired this piece from the Darwish, some of the spiritual movements in my culture that we have. They are just wrestling around and inside of the Molana and some of these kind of the Rumi movements. And I just made this piece inspired by the dress of dervishes. And it's a kind of when you're just sitting under and it's a kind of circle and kind of these kind of things just inside of that. Yeah. And again, it's a connection between the land and the cosmos and the territory that you are just made it for yourself as a people, as a human.
Yeah. It's great. I love it. And this one, it's amazing. Like when you see your face, we see your face and your expression, the fact that you were underneath like all this fabric and then you are suddenly discovered. It's very provocative. I think it's a piece that is very, very provocative.
I worked on this piece for 3 months, I think, because I saw all of them. I saw it with my hands. And the dress, one of my beautiful friend, Bahare, she designed for me this dress as well. And she made it for me, specialized for this exhibition. And it was, yeah, it's such a beautiful memory when I'm just going back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now I want to pass on to like more recent work, just because I want, time-wise, I want to also explore like how you have been working lately with this kind of materials and with this kind of pieces. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the work that you will be presenting for the ArtworxTO Toronto's 2021 Year of Public Art.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love this. So you want to let us know a little bit about how these elements, textures, and materials kind of start coming in place for you.
And now you understand exactly. I choose material with my concepts. And because of that, I'm just choosing everything. And I'm choosing material exactly what I need. And after that, I'm going to search what I need for my project. This is the Inception series that for my solo exhibition, this is my first solo exhibition that I had here in Toronto. And I just made these piece because of my 40th birthday. And it's about packing all of my 10 years, 10 years, 10 years, all these decades inside of this bag. And I just pack it. And it's a kind of archive of all of my memories, all of my sorrows, all of my happiness, all of my belongings that I just left behind. And you can see some dolls on top of these pieces. And these dolls have some situated in straight or maybe laying down or some of these kind of things. You can see these dolls inside of my previous works as well too. It's a kind of me in exactly kind of involving with the migration and exactly like a child. First of all, it was just fragmented because my ego and all of my things, it just broke and I just lost. And after that, again, I stand up and I started again. These dolls remind me something I have inside, and I just put the again head as a power to just take it apart and put the body side and head another side. And after that, again, I'm inspired from Carl Gustav Jung because it's my hero. And these dolls, one of them it's male and one of them it's female. And I believe all of us, we have these male and female inside of ours. And our identity, it's just coming from these kind of things. And when we balance these two power inside of our body, we can find a power and we can find ourselves. And exactly these dolls situated, sometimes laying down, sometimes straight, sometimes exactly I just put, and all of these pieces have some number on top of that. It was exactly when I just born on 1976. And after that, again, it's 1986. Again, after that, 96. And again, when I just came here, it's exactly finished on my 40th birthday. And I had a chance to have this piece on my 40th birthday. And that's it.
That's beautiful. I absolutely love it. And we do have a question that I think it will be appropriate to answer right now. And it's because we have the suitcase, right? Like that
Exactly.
idea
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the migration and the movement and how
Yes.
you are incorporating these other elements. So the question says, how your migratory experience has influenced your work and this risk-taking spirit.
Yeah. Migration for me, it was a kind of big change because first of all, I just came from my comfort zone and I just leave everything and just came here. And I believe from after my migration, my series that just they started with my sculptures, you can see exactly the influence of my migration inside of my pieces. And you can see exactly the risk because I love risk inside of my work, and I choose exactly, and I pointed these kind of feelings, and because of that, yeah, migration, I think it was very influential in my works, and because and my luggages have some wheels under, and they are all some kind of vehicle. It's a kind of they can move, and exactly like me, because I move and from one level and one stage to another, and I pass all of these experiences, and now when I just look back, now I can see the relation between me before migration and after migration, and it's very bold, I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. I think that it's very evident how it has impacted your practice, but also how, in terms of your spirit and taking chances and confronting and letting people know about your space, the space that you're taking in, the land that you're in, the territory. I think that all of that it's been reincorporated through a lens of migration, and it's wonderful to be able to see that. I really like it. So I just want, because we have a couple of minutes left, and we have 10 people already connected, which is great. Thank you for being here. And I just want you to speak a little bit. We don't want to give away everything, but a little bit about the work that you will be presented in the fall of 2021 for the Artworks 21 Public Art Year of Public Art in Toronto. And her work, this piece that we're going to talk about, is going to be displayed at the West End Cultural Hub in Etobicoke, that it's located inside the Cloverdale Mall. So it is very exciting that Shabnam, we're going to have this piece for that exhibition that's called Homeland, Bodies of Water. And the work that Shabnam will be presenting is called The Green Summit. So Shabnam, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you are expanding and incorporating this work on a very exciting installation that we will be presenting?
Of course. This piece entitled Of the Green Summit, and this piece is a memorial piece that I just made last year. And after, unfortunately, the tragic happening for the aeroplane, and it was a kind of heartbreaking event in and I just made this piece in memorial of these lost, and we just lost all of these beautiful people, unfortunately, in that airplane. And I just display this piece, and after that, now I'm going to complete this piece, and you see this piece just have three parts, and part of that it's a kind of repetition of the life and a kind of transition, and a part of that it's just contained about this tulip that I just paint, and this tulip, upside down tulip, I just painted, and after that I just put it on the top of the door, and that I just made it. And do you have the image, Claudia?
Yes, I actually have the video, so I'm going to
Okay.
share the video while
Please, Claudia.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this piece have three part. One part of that it's a door, and just that connection between these door and these train track, and it's a kind of showing about these happening, and it's going to be 2 videos added to this piece, and it's going to be installation piece with the videos, and this door, it's a kind of entrance, and entrance of the somewhere that it's unfamiliar with us. And I just made this door, and on top of that, I put this upside down tulip. It's a kind of, this tulip reminds me the beautiful tulips that's grown in my country in the Zagros mountain. And I inspired from the story of the Siavash, and I inspired from a poem from R.F. Ghazvini. And these innocent people cannot see the spring anymore. And I just put that tulip on top of this door, and it's going to be reminds us these tragic events, and these people cannot see the spring anymore, and all these lights, it just symbolized of the loss of these people. And we are just working on the videos and editing the videos, and it's going to be an interactive installation, and it's a kind of just the memorial for these people that just be lost in this.
Yeah, so we're gonna have, like, as Shabnam mentioned, other elements like these video pieces that are gonna be incorporated. We're gonna have some audio as well, and people are gonna be welcome to walk through this trail and get closer to the door where we have all these mirrors, and people are going to be able to kind of be in that liminal space where we exactly don't know what's going to happen next, but it's kind of in that moment and transition between where we are and where we could be in the future as well. And I love how you are incorporating the poem, that it's very well known in your culture, and the symbol of tulip, and the idea of how the blood itself, it's going to become something very nourishing, and that we're hoping to create, you're hoping to create this sense of hope and of healing also for the families as well. So this is just a sneak peek of what we are working on right now. And I am, of course, very excited to be working with Shabnam again. And I hope you guys have enjoyed just as much as I do, learning more about her practice, her work. And yeah, I think that her spirit, it's very strong. It's always there, digging and challenging and creating like a great impact about different layers, different themes that we need to explore. So thank you for, okay, so we have a question. When the artwork is going to be shown? So this exhibition will open in the fall, so at the end of September. Like, we still have the date to be confirmed, but the show is going to be from September till beginning of December. And as I said before, it's going to be up in the Cultural Hub in the Cloverdale Mall. And the exhibition is called Homeland, Bodies of Water. And it's going to be one of the 3 exhibitions that I'll be presenting. And of course, we're going to have Shabnam's work there. So I invite you all to take a look and to come and visit when the time comes. And hopefully we're all going to be in a better place to meet in person. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And you, Shabnam, again, for your time.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Special thanks again for you, Paula, and all of the people they just supported me in last 7 years in Canada. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care. Bye. Thank you, Cal.